Boys, listen up. Our kingdom just got taken over by magic-powered robots. Our crystal was stolen, and my fiancée that I haven't seen in years is missing. Now, we need to find a way to get to Niflheim, get our crystal back, save the land, and get married before Chocobo Sunday. Now, are you ready for the best road trip adventure ever?
We have to.
You're not seriously going out wearing that, are you?
Hey, it protects me from status ailments. Now, are you guys gonna help me or not?
Yay! Huzzah!
Alright! Now then, to the regalia!
I believe you have to be closer.
I know! Everyone follow me.
Hey, Knock, check this out.
What is it? What in the world are you doing? Knock it off! Quit fooling around! Seriously? Oh, God!
Everyone ready?
Yep.
Alrighty.
Guys, no seatbelts. Why are you square?
Fine.
Where to, Master Knock?
Where else? To our destination. This is so good.
Wait, how is this supposed to help us win in a battle?
It's like in a video game. It gives us stat buffs we need to fight any behemoth we might face out there.
I still don't understand how a soda is supposed to prevent me from turning into a toad.
Listen, don't question it. This is real life. It's magic.
Where to now?
To our real destination, of course. Fast travel this time.
Alright, that'll be 10 gil.
10 gil? For what?
Look, you think this cameo is free? Call this compensation.
Fine. Now fast travel.
Alrighty, let's go!
Yeah.
Looks like we're out of gas.
Guess we gotta call Cindy.
Ooh, let me. Cindy'll talk to me.
The only thing that comes to you are chocobos.
Hey, chicks dig the car. Besides, this is Cindy we're talking about. Oh, hold on, Cole's going through. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. I see. Hey guys, does anyone have 500 gil?
Screw this. Everyone out. We're pushing.
Really? I mean, maybe I can talk her down a few gil.
Aren't you going to help?
Well, of course. I'm steering.
But you steered last time.
Yes, because as Prince, I shouldn't even be pushing such heavy machinery with these hands. Now come on, everyone start pushing.
Screw this. Get some more pot noodle.
I'm glad my old girlfriend. Why do I hang out with people anyway?
Oh, come on, guys, come back. I'll let you ride chocobos for a while. I still have the rented. Guys! So yeah, we're doing this. To get back to Sabrina, we must defeat the man behind all this by conquering the game he's conjured up. Final Fantasy XV is a game that had a rather long development cycle starting in 2006, which involved it being named Versus 13, intended for the FF13 line of games under direction of Tetsuya Nomura, until 2012, which I can assume would be the point before E3 2013, where the project would be renamed under that which you see, while trying to keep most of the original content as possible despite having a new team and Hajime Tabata as the director. The end result is a game 10 years in the making, and one that they put a lot of pride into given how much advertising and promoting they did for the game, including like product tie-ins to the in-game car and food of all things, while also setting out to be greater than Final Fantasy VII in terms of like among the greatest, if not most important of all Final Fantasy titles. The team behind this game even hoped the game would sell at least 10 million copies, and right now, At least 6 million have been sold worldwide in about 2 months, and is currently sitting at a 82 score on Metacritic, which is 10 points behind 7, but 1 point behind 13. And we all know how that one turned out. More or less, scores are just a way to give you an idea on what most people think of something, but the only way to know if it's good or not is to play it. Now, I had no real interest in this game, as I was more interested in Xenoblade Chronicles X at the time of reveal. And unlike with Destiny, I can actually compare these two games together since they both are open world and both have the same kind of flaws as each other. But one of them does things more favorably to me than the other, and that's something I'll be doing a lot. Now, as per usual, I am no expert in gaming, so I will admit to any faults I may have. Any comparison to games I make will be done at my leisure, but only when it makes sense. And of course, while I have my own footage to use, and this time I figured out how to use USB transfer, so bigger files for me, I will credit anyone whose footage I end up using. So, without further ado, let us begin the review. As the game boots up, you get this message. Meaningful, I'm sure, if not a little boastful. But anyway, when you start up a new game, you get taken to a battle tutorial, led by Carbuncle in the Dream World. If you played the Platinum demo, he carries over whatever name you gave him in that, which is a sure sign that the demo is in fact canon to the game's storyline. And oh, something I should bring up. While I have seen the Brotherhood anime and Kingsglaive movie, I'll mostly treat this as if having only seen the former because, well, I didn't see the movie until after playing this game. And that's a perspective you might be relating to and understanding why it can cause trouble for some things in the plot. Anyway, I'll go over battles soon enough. For now, we kick off the story with an older Noctis and his friends battling a large, fire-breathing naked man?
Don't look at his penis, 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 don't look at his... Ah! I looked.
Well, it doesn't last too long as we warp back to the present, where my father, King Regis, is sending me and my friends to a city called Alticia to marry some girl named Luna Freya while he's busy signing a peace treaty with the Niflheim Empire. Okay, who is this Luna Freya, and why am I getting married? If you expect this game to give you immediate answers to some things, then tough luck. Go see Kingsglaive, and you'll know. For now, we do get this one father-son moment.
Do mind your manners around your charming bride-to-be.
Your Majesty as well. Try to mind yours around our esteemed guests from Niflheim.
You have no cause for concern.
Nor do you.
Take heed. Once you set forth, you cannot turn back.
You think I would?
I need only know that you are ready to leave home behind.
Don't know about you, but I'm ready as I'll ever be.
Take care on the long road. Wheresoever you should go, the line of Lucis goes with you.
And that's the only time in the game you get such a moment between them. At any rate, after like a minute and a half of waiting for the game to load, yeah, the load times are pretty long, we get our heroes stranded on the road with their car broken down. So we have to push by holding down R2 while they figure to stand by me playing on the radio.
Unbelievable.
Not exactly a fairy tale beginning, huh, Prince Noctis?
We let ourselves get carried away.
Look, these things happen.
Let's just hope this isn't some omen.
Gladio, do me a favor.
What?
Push this thing by yourself.
All by myself?
You won't even notice if we just let go.
Pronto?
Final Fantasy, a game about magic, monsters, and 4 white dudes pushing a car to possibly erotic music. We soon arrive at Hammerhead, where we get to meet the mechanic of the outpost, Cindy. She's the granddaughter of this game's rendition of Sid, who is later revealed to be an old friend of Regis. And it looks like he's going to be teaching us a lesson and taking care of our father's legacy. You know, the car. But anyway, about Cindy. Pretty much, the developers make her out to be some kind of important character, but really she's more like an important vendor than anything else. She's mainly in charge of maintaining your car, repairing it when it gets damaged, customizing it when you ask her to, and even towing it to places. The only character she really has is that her parents died and Sid raised her after. And after seeing people die to monsters while they were in a car, she wanted technology to be better for everyone. Other than that, she has no real bearing on the overall plot, as much as they like you to believe. As for her design, well, it makes more sense than quiet, in that she doesn't need some ludicrous reason to have it. Here I can believe she would be willing to wear it at her leisure because there do exist people who like to wear revealing clothing. And while I've stated that I'm not a big fan of this kind of fan service, I don't oppose anyone wanting to include it as long as it's used in a way that doesn't detract from the story. At any rate, she gives us a map to the entire continent, and we get to do some exploring of the place. Technically, this is where we're free to do whatever we want, but to advance, we really need to get the car back. So after checking out the shop, we have this happen.
Oh, what's a gill?
What's a paladin?
We've expended the last of our funds on the repairs.
Makes you wonder how much they brought along if they're already broke. You'd think being rich means we'd have a bigger wallet, but whatever. This gets us acquainted to the choice system, where we can affect the dialogue by picking out options. It's not as deep as Xenoblade X or in some other games, where it can actually affect whole quest lines and crap. At least from what I've seen, not every quest I found here had depth. But on the plus side, saying appropriate things can get you AP or experience points. So that's good. As for quests, well, the majority of them are split into two types. Story quests, which are red, and side quests, which are light blue. Side quests are obtained from interacting with people or objects that have a yellow question mark on the minimap or next to the talk prompt, while story quests just come naturally as you play. You can only track one at a time, and right now we have to go kill some monsters, which lead to finding some old guy named Dave, who is part of a series of side quests, which leads to fighting a large monster needed to open up monster hunts, which are actually another type of quest we'll talk about later. For now though, let's talk about the controls. Compared to X, I feel like I've been spoiled by how well that controlled, because here it feels a bit slow to me. You move with the left control stick, while the right stick controls your camera. You can rotate it, but not zoom in any way, and that can be a problem when the camera zooms on its own, which can obscure your vision sometimes. You can sprint by holding down the left stick or hold circle, but that can drain your stamina, which you can toggle the bar for from the menu. You can jump with X, which is more like a short hop. You can take cover in some places with square when prompted to, and triangle lets you warp forward a bit, but it's not very practical this way. Just from how it looks, it reminds me of Assassin's Creed, since you can also move aside NPCs who don't really do much but exist. Though sometimes, like in X, you can overhear conversations, but otherwise it seems like you can only talk to like vendors or quest givers. And then some important NPCs, but yeah, don't expect the civilians to talk to you. Also, the speed of your character changes depending on location, and that can be a bit bothersome since you want to get things done quickly, but you're moving like slugs. Maybe that isn't a problem to you, but I think one thing you'll notice is that trying to interact with anything is a hassle. You have to be standing in the right spot to actually interact. You can't be too close, and you can't be too far. Otherwise, you jump. And if you press X too quickly, even when the prompt appears for you to talk or whatever, you jump anyway. And sometimes the prompt won't appear after that. It's just very picky regarding how this game wants you to behave. Now let's talk about combat. I want to say it's like Kingdom Hearts given its action-oriented style and AI party members, but it doesn't have quite the same satisfaction as that. You attack by holding down circle, and as long as you hold it, the action persists. And if you hold the left stick in a certain way, you can change how the attack flows, kinda like in more recent Tales games. Of course, doing this may lead you away from your target, so you should make sure to target by holding R1. Attacking this way can lead to some cool things happening like link attacks. Be it from blind spots or just team attacks in general, they do at least give us some neat animations to watch, and they do more damage for doing it. Also, the more you attack, the faster the tech gauge fills up. By holding L1 and selecting a character with the control pad, you can perform a tech skill based on how many bars you have. Each skill can be leveled up after enough use, making them better to use, and you can get more through certain means. Otherwise, the control pad is used to swap your weapons. Noctis is like Ludger from Tales of Xillia 2, in that he can equip multiple weapon types and switch between them anytime. They follow under like a lot of action-oriented games where different weapons have different damage rates, but different swing time. But for some weapons, like broadswords, they can have a long attack animation, which can be a problem in swarms where enemies keep piling up and knocking you back, making it harder to guard because you're still in a swing. By the way, Square in this game serves as both a guard and what's called phasing. It leaves behind like a little doppelganger of yourself to show that you dodged an attack at the cost of some magic points. Run out and you go into stasis and can't use magic until you get MP back. Until then, you can only block with your weapon. You can also block when the prompt calls for it, and as soon as you see the prompt to counterattack with circle, you do so. Sometimes it doesn't work though, and it's either because you took too long, or an enemy downright avoids you, so you couldn't even counterattack anyway. Then we have warp strikes, which utilize the triangle button. While it does the same thing as before, if you're locked onto an enemy, however, you end up attacking them, and you can repeatedly do this so long as you're locked on. If you're not targeting, and you see this icon that has the prompt in it, you can warp there, and even hang from that spot until you've recovered your HP and MP before striking back. It took me a long time to get used to that, and it does help in knocking down some enemies and increase damage output. Really, at times combat can be fun, but often monotonous to where you wish there to be more variety in how you can fight. Without the feedback or difficulty balance that Kingdom Hearts had, these battles can be the difference between satisfaction or frustration, and you'll see ways to how it can do that. Once you find Dave, he tells you he's part of some organization of hunters who go around hunting many creatures, and since he got hurt, he wants you to hunt some mutant creature of some kind. He gives you a magic flask, which is tied into the magic system. Throughout the world are elemental deposits that Noctis can absorb energy from, up to 99 per element. You can take those elements and mix them together to create what are essentially magic bombs. The more you put into the flask, the more proficient they become to where they become stronger spells. And you can even mix in items to add in like multicasting, dual elemental type, status casts like poison to even death, and even experience bombs that give you loads of it when a battle ends. The only downside is that there's no friendly fire when it comes to using magic, meaning you can hit your friends with this as well. This wouldn't be a big deal since you can give them the bombs to use at their own leisure as well, but without the ability to call them back, it's hard not to hit them with the spells. They also tend to leave behind residue on the ground for them to walk into, and well, they might not take mass damage, but they can still get status ailments from them. It's a really messed up mechanic, but one that I can see working better for those with a good understanding of it. Noctis can equip just about any weapon there is, so long as they aren't exclusive to anyone else. Gladios can wield broadswords and shields, Ignis can wield daggers and lances, and Prompto can wield guns and other machinery. I should also mention that you all get costumes you can change into, and like in Tales of the Abyss, they can provide some slight stat boosts and other effects. But besides them all not being very appealing to look at, they don't provide enough of a difference where the changes matter, so I eventually would just go back to the default costumes. Anyway, you're probably wondering how leveling works in this game. Well, just as Ignis suggested, we need to make camp. We head to these haven spots that seem reminiscent to Final Fantasy IV, where we can either train with our friends for some light AP, or just set up camp. The first time you do this, you even get some Coleman product placement, But anyway, essentially by resting up, the experience you gathered for your party goes into boosting your level, which also mildly boosts certain stats as per usual, but every time you do level up, you can even get more AP, which is spent in the Ascension menu. This is essentially the skill tree, and it's far more choice influenced than 10 and 13. You can choose to invest in improving your combat capabilities, your exploration perks, magic usage, stat boosts, skill acquisitions, equipment slots, many things that can affect your overall experience. There's actual variety here, and they even included a table for the wait mode. Yeah, I should mention that combat is done either actively or through wait mode, which only works when you stand still. It's awkward to use, and I just didn't bother with it. If anything, it makes using Ignis's Libra ability more handy, but that's it. Back with camping, however, whenever you do so, Ignis will cook for you from a number of recipes he's come across. They take ingredients you find all over the world, and the food he makes can provide stat boosts and other effects. Eating foods that are a favorite to a character, and yes, I do like the sprite job they did for the menus, will give them another stat boost, which makes them more proficient in combat. Eating is essential if you want to perform well in combat, since some characters like Prompto have low HP to start off with and can easily get killed off. Well, not right away. If they run out of health, their max HP count will slowly drop. If they get hit enough to reach 0, they die, and you'll have to either res them or end the battle. If Noctis dies, well, it's game over no matter what. Now, this draining can be stopped by approaching an ally in danger and pressing square. But given how far they can wander, it's hard to catch up to them. Your party AI can do this ability as well, but they either take too long or not bother at all. AI in general feels on and off on whether they're smart or dumb as hell. In any case, camping is the only way you can have him raise his cooking skill, which, while also improved through the Ascension menu, the higher level a character's skill is, the more perks they get involving that skill. Each character has a unique skill they can improve on, which raises after resting. Noctis's involves fishing, which kinda reminds me of Twilight Princess in a way. Gladios involves exploring and defeating monsters to drop more items and in better quality. Prompto takes photos. It's nothing really handy, it's just to get some decent shots of the action. There's also like selfies and group poses, even though you never see your characters actually doing them willingly, despite the map showing where you took them. Like, it's purely for the social media sites. They can be amusing, if not just because you occasionally get blurry images or other oddities. Anyway, the other thing about resting is you can also do this at lodges or these trailers all over the place. Unlike camps though, you can't cook in them, but you do get experience multipliers, meaning it's often better to save your money on resting in like places with ×2 or ×3 multipliers and really rake in the experience. Like Ascension though, it's just another way for people to get a different experience out of the game to either get it done quicker or take it slow. Anyway, now that we've gotten everything taken care of, it's time to get the regalia back and take it for a spin. Cindy tells us to deliver a package to somewhere on the way to our destination, but who cares? We got the car back! Time to rev up that engine and push the pedal to the metal! Let's do this! Woo! And I'm already bored with the car. Yeah, let me just say now that if there was truly one thing about this game I despise, it's the damn car. And not because it's not like the scales in Xenoblade X, I can compare those to power armor in Fallout games. No, the regalia is more like a vehicle you see in Grand Theft Auto. But try to imagine you only having access to one car at all times, you can't drive anything else, and if the car gets wrecked enough, it's game over. Sounds fun to you? Well, if they do a good job tying it into the story, I guess it'd be worth it. And they do try to tie in the car to your father, and I do mean try, but that's not all there is. You're practically tied to the road. You can't go off it, you can only steer onto side roads as indicated on the map. You can't go beyond certain speed limits unless you upgrade through quests given by Cindy, which I found out too late. But even then, this is about as strict a driving mechanic as anything I've played. I mean, no one ever wants to drive normally in a video game, because not everyone can make car physics work as well as in real life, so they let you go as fast as possible and do whatever you want with it to increase the fun factor. Here, there's no police to stop you for speeding, so why can't I go any faster than 40 miles per hour? Through upgrades, I noticed it can go up to 60, but even this thing's real-life counterparts go faster than that, and it's not even worth crashing. Damage seems minimal at times, and you have to pay 500 gil to Cindy to fix it. It's just not worth the effort. As for the driving itself, well, there's two ways of doing it. Auto, in which Ignis drives to destinations set by you on the map, based on like parking spots, which you can attain by going there or through talking to tipsters, quest points, and just markers you set. Then you have manual, in which Noctis drives on your accord. Either way, you have influence on how the car controls, as R2 accelerates, L2 brakes and reverses, square U-turns, moving left or right can turn onto intersections, X will let you out after you've parked somehow, the touchpad brings up the navigator, and the control pad controls your radio. You can get more tunes from the shop, and even purchase a portable radio to carry the tunes with you. The car is even its own shop, providing consumables and other things that get added over time. What bugs me though is where these items come from or how you're even paying for them. If this is some kind of old car, should it not have these features? Customization makes sense at least. Different color jobs require different materials you gather from like item spots or deposits, which costs some gil, and I found way later on that you can upgrade the car to make it go slightly faster, have better fuel proficiency, and even keep monsters from attacking at night. Some of these features would probably ease up my problem with traveling, but not by much. On its own, the car isn't that appealing to me, but they try so hard to make this thing something you absolutely need that it makes me hate it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And the main reason for that is that it's the only means of actually fast traveling in this game. Now without fast travel, you usually take a minute to even 10 minutes driving from one point to another. And the whole time you're just watching the characters jitter about, you might find yourself looking at scenery, which is fine, but not something I would want to do the whole time, so you would want to get to destination points quicker so you can get quests done faster despite being scattered about. Let's say you have a quest that's somewhere you haven't been to, has quite a bit of distance, but enough to drive to in like a minute. So you go there, take care of what needs to be done, and need to go back. Well, you can't just warp back to the last rest point because the car doesn't come with you. You'd have to warp back to your car first, since fast travel is tied directly to the car, or have the car towed to you, which would cost you some money. Of course, fast travel in detail costs 10 gil for some stupid reason. I can get needing to refuel the car for that amount, but fast traveling? Now, if you're in range of the car, you can warp back to it, and that doesn't take too long. But going back to certain points, even if they're like a minute away, it still takes about roughly a minute for the game to load. And even longer if you're trying to go to places that are even further away. This might not seem like a big deal, but it's funny how a game designed for the PS4 and Xbox One have longer load times than Xenoblade X on the Wii U, a weaker system, yet fast travel there takes about 10 regardless of where you go. And sure, either way you're saving time, but in this game's case, it isn't as fluid as the other. And it just breaks the flow of gameplay for me, especially when I want to do multiple monster hunts. They're obtained through tipsters, who also sell you food that Ignis can also learn to cook for himself, as well as learning from random people eating. But anyway, you can only have one monster hunt active at a time, which is stupid because if these hunts take place in the same region as where you're getting them from, why not just take multiple ones and save yourself some trips? More or less, when I do quests, I try to set up a plan to where I go out, do them all at once, since they can be in the same area, then come back. While I may still need to make multiple trips, it's usually because I still have more to do. But if it's just one at a time, like with the hunts, then I'd be spending a lot of time looking at the load screen. But more on traveling with the car. Naturally, if enemies aggro onto you, you end up out of the car. Rather casually too, like it's not that urgent. And this is mostly at night where, until level 30, Ignis won't drive, so Noctis has to. You have the chance of demons spawning on the road, though sometimes if you're in a tunnel, they spawn above it, and you get forced out anyway, so you end up wasting time going back into the car. Really, there's just so many inconveniences with the car that don't make it a pleasure to use, and most of the open world section of the game relies on it far too much. The world might be big, maybe even bigger than X, but it doesn't make for good road trips. All in all, I just wish the car had more use than just a traveling shop vehicle. Maybe add in some weapons like in James Bond or something to make it more viable. Otherwise, it's just boring to use. Now I know we haven't really touched the story in a while, but before I do, and also give a quick briefing on the characters thus far, let me at least go over a few other technical details. Like the world. Well, it looks pretty, but it's not very unique to me. This feels like it was ripped out of reality, then given a few modern day things to make it seem different, but not in a fantasy way. Then they throw in monsters and magic and call it a day. There's not a lot that feels very fantasy-like in structure. Like they may take their influences from European culture, but they don't add in their own twists onto it. In other media, like Dreamkeepers, Tales of Xillia, or even FF7, they put an effort into making the seemingly realistic environments more unique by heavy mixing in fantasy elements so that you can believe it might be something we'd have, but only they can pull off due to what's found only in their world. They reek of imagination to set it apart from other worlds, including our own. Here they don't do nearly enough to do that, and instead makes me question things like, why is this placed here? Seriously, what the hell am I looking at? Graphically speaking, it's definitely a nice looking game, but it is still prone to the common problems that open world games have regarding draw distance, foliage, pop-ins, and other things you may notice that show the technical faults of the game. These are things I also see in X. And while 15 doesn't have the problem of certain textures not showing up until you're really close enough, this game still has untextured objects that take a while to form, and then you have moments where the screen seems to tear or like white blocks come out of nowhere, like in combat for instance. A lot of it seems to occur in the dark, but jeez, I figured this game would be better optimized. I suppose it works better on the Pro or the upcoming Scorpio, but they were trying to make this work for their original consoles first, and yet it feels like it's breaking most of the time. Even worse, the water effects. Now, how does one screw up the water effects in a game like this? Well, I don't even need to tell you. I'll show you!
Hey, Noct. That looks like a fishing spot.
Serious?
This will be our first time fishing outside the Crown City.
Wonder what you can catch out here.
"10 years in the making, and they couldn't get water to look prettier than Mario Sunshine. And it doesn't get much better from here. Oh no, it gets worse. There's also tons of odd glitches, like... Of course, this is tame in comparison to stuff like... This is something I'd expect from Bethesda or Ubisoft, not Square Enix. There is humor to be had with them, sure, but in this day and age, it's just a bad sign when developers don't give a damn enough to ensure this doesn't happen a lot during normal gameplay. 10 years in the making, and we still get something that is relatable to other big game releases with massive problems, yet somehow get high scores anyway because next gen! I know half of its development time was spent on making one game before becoming something else, but I just can't imagine how they didn't do enough polishing for this. So if I were to judge this game just on the technical and gameplay side of things so far, it'd be a 5, maybe a 6, but we still have the story and characters to cover, and while this video will cover the rest of Chapter 1, I want to at least go over the main characters, and well, they're not bad. In fact, they're pretty likable at times. They're just underdeveloped for my tastes. Noctis, I imagined, would be exactly like Sasuke, especially given his design, but he does actually have more than one emotion. He does smile and laugh a lot, like he can be fun to be around. Then there's Gladios, who's your big and gruff tough guy who tends to put everyone in line, while also having this strange fascination with cup noodles.
Then, if you take something already delicious like cup noodles and add in the finest, freshest ingredients, what do you get? The ultimate flavor experience.
Given how they market everything, including a commercial for cup noodles, I would think this is what he'd say.
The perfect meal, cup noodle with minced meat. Thank you.
Ignis is like this battle butler who's super smart, has a photographic memory, and has a really nice sounding voice. Despite this, he tends to have this deadpan sense of humor, and I see him as being one of my favorite characters in this game. Finally, there's Prompto, the typical comic relief character who always has to make jokes, odd references, and take a lot of photos. But he does have good delivery, and his lines are rather good. Everyone does play off each other rather well. You constantly hear them banter either on the move or in the car. And sometimes, after making camp, you get to participate in a tour quest where you and one of your friends goes out to do something together. If anything, there's plenty of characterization that makes them more three-dimensional than how they were shown. But at the same time, it's hard to get invested in their character development when they don't go over their backstories. At least, not here. In the anime tie-in Brotherhood, we learn what each of them are like and where they all come from. For instance, Noctis lost his mother to a demon attack, which also led to him being in a coma, aka the events of the Platinum demo, and while he has an attachment to his father, it seems to be somewhat strained given the stress of being a single parent. Ignis was raised to be Noctis' advisor, and while a childhood friend, he kinda became like a second father in a way given how their story is told. Gladios was Noctis' sword instructor, and while frustrated by how he behaved, he soon came to respect him after hearing what he did for his own little sister, Iris. And then Prompto was originally a recluse who wanted nothing to do with anyone until after finding Luna's dog and receiving a letter from her thanking him for finding it and asked him to be Noctis' friend. He did so by improving his well-being so he could be more useful to him later on. Now, whether or not you want to see that as legit character growth, or another way to say that overweight characters can't be useful to main characters, this is all stuff that is not present in the game at all. Any character development they have is minimal at best and is based on content that you have to be aware of before you can completely understand it. Now they say you can choose not to view media like Brotherhood or Kingsglaive to appreciate this game overall, as they just complement it. Well, I disagree with that statement. You need to see both these things if you want to have a complete understanding of anything before coming into this game, or else you will be left behind, and when we get more to the story-oriented parts, well, you'll see how they end up treating that aspect. The same can be said about Noctis and Luna's relationship. As you see here, after arriving at our first stop, Noctis receives this book from his dog, Umbra, which was a gift from Luna when they were children during his first visit to her homeland of Tenebrae. In the flashback, it shows that the two had a good enough relationship in which they would trade off the book with a different message inside. And it even carries over now as you can choose the messages for them. They try to make Luna as this important character in Noctis' life, but as you'll later see, it's not as well developed as, say, Cloud and Aerith from Final Fantasy VII. Anyway, you soon arrive in Golden Key, where you overhear that the fairies are out of service due to the embargo set by the Empire. You also run into this man, Arden, aka the man who took me away from Sabrina just to cover this game because god damn it, he's a troll.
And what's your story?
I'm an impatient traveler, ready to turn ship. The ceasefire's getting us nowhere. Consider it your allowance.
Huh? Yeah. And who's allowing us?
A man of no consequence.
Did I mention I'm not a villain?
Seriously, you don't even need to see Kingsglaive to know that much. He's already a suspicious stranger. That means he's evil. After giving me some coin that doesn't appear to do anything, we go to confirm that the ferry is out, and we get confronted by this Brooklyn schmuck named Dino. He says he can get us tickets to the ferry in exchange for getting him some gemstone he needs, or else he'll rat us out to the public. We drive out to find it, and admittedly this quest is neat since we have to get past this large bird to get to the deposit. It's one of a few quests in this game that stand out to me as memorable and well designed. Afterwards he tells us we'll need to spend the night at the lodge here, so we do so. And then Kingsglaive happened. And if you haven't seen the movie, you will have no idea what the hell just happened. You learn in the paper that the king is dead, and it even reports you and Luna dead as well. Not wanting to believe Insomnia would fall to Niflheim, you all decide to head back to the city, only to discover that the checkpoint is blocked off for inspection. So you sneak around. It's here you get introduced to the Magitech infantry, who are basically robots that I guess run on magic power. They tend to come in groups and either attack in melee range or by using rifles. After this chapter, they tend to spawn inside these airships that fly out of nowhere before dropping them off in a compact group that makes it easier to bomb with magic. They might seem easy, but they can easily swarm you and they do get stronger over time. What's worse is that sometimes they come with at least one soldier that's 20 levels higher than what they came with, which can really overpower you, which is very unfair unless you can counter and or use items well. And I swear, the airships are just as buggy as most things in this game, as sometimes they'll either fly straight up into the sky or spawn on ground level before flying across to where they are supposed to go since there's an area below it. So we kick their ass and reach the riverside where, sure enough, the country burns. Noctis, in a fit of rage, ends up calling Kor, the immortal martial guy.
What's going on?
Where are you?
Outside the city, with no way back in.
Makes sense.
Makes sense? Are you serious? What about any of this makes sense? The news just told me I'm dead, along with my father and Luna.
Listen, I'm heading out to Hammerhead. About the king. It's true. If you're looking for the whole truth, you know where to find me.
So who is Kor? Why does he sound important? And what is this truth he speak of? Find out in part 2.
SpaceMonkeyMafiaStudios.com.
Wait, what's a gill?